Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and I am not here today with Neon. He is not going to be in videos pretty much for the whole weekend, so you're just going to get me this weekend. It's us time. So before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, I'll give you a woohoo, and let's go on with our show. So today we're going to talk about Gina Carano, and those unfamiliar, Gina Carano played Cara Dune in The Mandalorian. They were going to do a spin-off show with her, and because she wouldn't put pronouns in her bio, even though she was respectful about it, because she had differing opinions politically, it seemed, and because she put up a thing that now everybody and their brother is putting up about, you know, Nazi Germany, she was fired from Lucasfilm. Now, she is suing Lucasfilm for her termination for damages because Elon Musk is paying for it. We're going to talk about that more in a bit. But it's very ironic because now other people, which happened before, especially if they're male, could put other things up that are similar to what she said, and they were not punished for it. And it's a load of crap. So before we get into it any further, please give a like and subscribe. If you do, I will give you a woohoo, and we're going to talk about this. So Mark Ruffalo, who, if anybody follows him, he's like the Mark Hamill, he's like the Marvel version of Mark Hamill, where he's constantly politically posting. Like, he's constantly, him and Pedro Pascal, like political this, political that. So Mark Ruffalo put up a post about Nazi Germany. Now, remember, Gina Carano got fired for the same thing. She was fired back in January, February of 2021, okay? And she was fired, but she wasn't even told she was fired. She found out about it on social media. She found out by the statement that was posted by Lucasfilm saying Gina Carano is not currently employed by Lucasfilm and there are no plans for her to be in the future. Nevertheless, her social media posts denigrating people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. And what she said that got her in trouble was this: Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is it any different from hating people for political views? Now, she didn't specify for being a Republican or being a Democrat, just in general, because it's very polarizing now. And I see a lot of the extremes. I'm not saying everyone, 'cause I think most people are rational. You see a lot of the extremes. They hate you because you don't agree with them. I see stories about families. I'm not talking to my relatives anymore because they vote one way and I vote another. And I just can't wrap my head around that. But she didn't specify what. She just saying, hating people based on the fact they vote differently from you is probably not good either. And you're just like, basically it's turning people into, you're emotionally turned off to people. Normally you would never stand by and let somebody be treated that way. But if you get yourself that you're, biased and bigoted against that person based on something like your political belief, that could be a bad thing. Nothing she said was wrong. Nothing she said was, wasn't said before by like the Holocaust Museum and things like that. It was a pretty basic statement, historically accurate statement. She was fired for it. I want to point out though that Nat Geo did a series about the Holocaust and what happened in Nazi Germany, and they mentioned something similar, and that was okay, but Disney owned them, and that was recently. Just pointing out the double standard. Well, she's suing Disney right now for the fact that there is a double standard, okay? She's filing a lawsuit against Lucasfilm and Disney, and she's doing it because Disney basically outlined what she did and said she was abhorrent and unacceptable. And they basically fired her for a tweet saying that she was, a terrible person, that they put the statement in from the Star Wars or Lucasfilm, what came out. And they said that nothing can be further from the truth. The truth is I've been hunted down from everything I posted to every post I liked because I was not in line with the acceptable narrative of the time. My words were consistently twisted to demonize and dehumanize me as an alt-right wing extremist. It was a bullying smear campaign aimed at silencing, destroying, and making an example out of me. I never even used aggressive language. I shared thought-provoking quotes, pictures, memes, and occasionally I used my own words, not with aggression, but with respect and the occasional comedy to keep the mood light in dark times. But they fired her over comments, which was interesting because she's saying about Hollywood says they support female representation and equal rights. Why then were my male co-stars permitted to speak without harassment and re-education courses or termination, but I was not afforded the same right to exercise my freedom of speech? And she's correct because we've seen it before. Pedro Pascal had put up a couple different things he put them on Instagram, but he still was putting them on social media. Here's the one he did. Losers in 1865 with the Confederate flag. Losers in 1945 with the Nazi flag. Losers in 2020 with the Make America Great Again hat. Clearly, he's equating, people that voted for Trump as the same thing as Confederates and Nazis. He did that. He did another picture. I don't have it up, but there's one that you can find if you look, where basically he was talking about the Holocaust being like kids in cages and comparing the Holocaust to current political issues. He did that too. He had posted those before. Now, some of these were posted before he worked at Disney, to be fair. But he had put them out there before and nothing was done to him. Mark Hamill constantly is out there politically posting and also making like derogatory comments to fans who don't agree with him. And that's okay. He might not be back for other reasons, but he's not being punished in the same way that Gina Carano was. Now we go back to Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, another one who politically posts all the time. Just for the record, history is repeating itself. And he puts up a Nazi Germany post, okay? And about 1933, the Enabling Act becomes law in Germany, giving the chief executive power to enforce his own laws without checks and balances. The passing of the act marked the formal transition from democratic republic to totalitarian dictatorship 6 months later. It was a one-party state. History is repeating itself. Nazi Germany pictures. I don't know if he's going to be back for any more Hulk stuff, but, he's not being called out by Disney or punished. He's not called out by Marvel. Where's all the, the calling out for that? So Gina Carano saw it, and I would be, don't blame her. I'd be mad too. Like, this is ridiculous. You keep seeing men posting this stuff, completely fine when they post it. But if you're a woman, they don't do anything about it. And if you're a white woman or you're a woman that's not like a super diverse, they don't come to your defense. Like, we had that Christina Ariel posting basically kind of racist hot takes about white people. Disney did nothing. Actually, Disney and Lucasfilm went to her defense about how we were anti-racism when she posted crap that was actually pretty racist-y. They went to her defense, but they did nothing when Gina Carano was harassed on Twitter. People wanted her to put pronouns in her bio. She didn't understand why. Pedro told her why. And actually, according to her, told her basically just to do it to shut them up. She didn't want to do it. She's like, I'm not putting in my bio, but good for all of you who choose to. I stand against bullying, especially the most vulnerable, and freedom to choose 100%. Like, I have no issue if you put it in your bio. I stand with you, but I'm not putting it in my bio because I don't feel comfortable with it. To which she got all these, this is from Data Racer. She's got all this hate. Fire Gina Carano for being a transphobic piece of trash. When you're going to fire Gina Carano for being openly transphobic and passive-aggressive racist. You're transphobic trash, you dumb piece of shit. Fuck off, you stupid piece of shit. Block me before I stamp on your self-entitled transphobic COVID-loving head, stinky lady. Hey, Gina Carano, shut the fuck up, you fucking asshole. And this went on for months, and Disney and Lucasfilm did nothing about it. But Christina Ariel, says something, and everybody, they fall over her. Just a white reminder that white women are just as complicit in the upholding of enforcing white supremacy. If a woman person asks you why, it's because white people seem to think that black people exist as a monolith and only believe one way. I think that when only one black person says something, we all feel free to that way. We all feel that way. Basically, they're ignorant, which is pretty much what she said about white women. When one black person says something, we all feel that way, which is ignorant. When one white person says something, you think that all white women feel that way, which is also ignorant. No, there was nothing done. This was 2020. Nothing was done to Christina Ariel for her comments at all. So, Gina Carano. Double standards on full display. It is a constant and obvious elephant in the room in Hollywood. There is an example after example, such as Mark Ruffalo's Below, that prove this, whom, by the way, I believe should have the right to express himself without getting fired. I also believe that. Although I cringe at most of his political posts, he is an actor, but he is a human being passionately engaging in something that he feels strongly about. It must be a nice feeling to express yourself so freely. Not everyone in this country has that privilege without having everything that they love taken from them. Do we wonder why he has that privilege and I do not? The answers are, in my case, I know people would prefer basketball players to just dribble or actors to just act, but when you're in the world where lives are being destroyed and lost all around you, how does any human being become forced to stay silent when death by injustice surrounds them? basically, you know, I'm a woman. They want strong women in Star Wars. They had one of the best characters ever. They got rid of the actress because she didn't do what Lucasfilm wanted. She wasn't towing the right narrative. And now that, you know, it's completely cool to like be calling this stuff out because of the whole Palestine and Israel thing. Now it's okay for everybody else to make comments, even though they made comments before that, and they still got a pass. She's the only one who did not. You know, and I don't blame her. It's crap. But I do agree with her that they want to post that stuff. That's up to them. She should have been allowed to post what she wanted to post and shouldn't have been punished for it unless it was like severely egregious. Like, here's a video of me beating the crap out of a child or something like that, you know? Disney and Lucasfilm maliciously twisted the narrative of a meme I posted, which was encouraging neighbors not to demonize their neighbors or history could repeat itself. It was really clear what she posted. That's what it was. They twisted that meme into saying I was denigrating people off of their culture and religious beliefs. It was suggested that I was comparing Republicans to Jewish people in the Holocaust, something that I never said or posted. I called no one a Nazi. I did not deny the Holocaust. Yet there are people who call people Nazis all the time, and that's a whole other story. Read that last sentence again. I never did this, yet I was smeared as an anti-Semite. That doesn't seem to happen to a certain group of people that choose to use these comparisons as well. Why is that? The rules for thee and not for me group. So what are these rules exactly? This lie was fed to you by the corrupt media based off the statement from Disney Lucasfilm, who have since doubled down on their slander towards me. This narrative took on a life of its own while my own life and career were tossed aside. The media repeated and repeated this lie until it became an untruthful fact to many who aren't the best at doing their own research, who listen and instead listen to fake news and what we've seen journalists digress into. Spare a few brilliant journalists. A demoralized society becomes hungry for propaganda, willing to give up their rights and the rights of others. It causes division and drives societies into a mob mentality, picking on a group of people, turning neighbors against neighbor. It is one of the largest reasons the gates were open for the Nazis to come into power in the first place. Yes, historically accurate. I'm concerned. You know, we talked about DEI, you know, and merit-based MEI, and the people are getting mad about that. But the thing is with a DEI, the problem with that is, while I get why they wanted to do it, I get the thought process behind it. I get that they're trying to make, you know, more opportunities available. You need to start that on an education basis, an opportunity basis, because people that are qualified for the job, highly qualified for the job, are not all straight white and male. But they need to have, you know, they're going to argue that they don't have the same access to opportunity to get the qualifications. Okay, fine. We'll do some more, you know, training for access to opportunity. But the problem we're seeing is people are being hired based on, you know, certain things like who they sleep with or what color they are or what religion they are or, you know, those kind of things, what gender they are. And it's a problem because it does not necessarily mean they're best for the job. So what happens is when somebody who is hired for a job that happens to be completely qualified, that is not white, straight, and male, people immediately keep throwing that DEI shit at them and assuming that they aren't qualified for the job. You have harmed the marginalized groups of people by doing that. The other problem is that people are being hired for positions that are being hired based on, you know, those things. And then people who are qualified aren't getting the jobs. And then the things are not working, bad things happen. And then everybody's getting painted with a broad brush. I know after the High Guardian Spice debacle, there was a black animator who was telling us she had a story and it looked really good. The art was great. She was told flat out that she was passed over because after the whole hiring thing with the High Guardian Spice and the drama behind that, they just didn't want to go that way anymore with super diverse people at the time because they were afraid it was going to bite them in the ass. And that's the problem. People that you're supposed to be helping, you're actually harming because of that. It's similar to this, okay? Women, minority groups, you're harming them over this. This way of doing things cannot be what we base condemning and destroying people's livelihoods and careers off of. The media manipulates the masses so easily based on their affiliations with large corporations and powerful people who signal and encourage them to destroy. Yes, Disney. Where my case stands as of now, we are patiently waiting with respect to the judge's ruling on whether she will grant or deny Disney Lucasfilm to dismiss the case I have brought against them. My hope is that the case brings balance back to a very broken industry. My case is not just for people who think exactly like me, but for everyone who will be and has been placed in this position. Because it changes, right? It changes every other day. Like, remember, like a year ago, everyone I didn't like was a Yahtzee, and now, oh my gosh, we hate, Jewish people. Anti-Semitism is running rampant. It's same people, just they flopped. They flip-flopped over the time of like a year, a few months time frame, because the media or social media or whatever told them to. They are so, they're all over the place. Every other week is something new, That's the way it is. Let's restore the balance, something that I believe the majority of the industry desires, just as I believe the majority of our beautiful country desires as well. We can have conversations where we don't agree. In fact, we just might learn something from each other through more conversations. Agreed. Conversation over cancellation, like I've said from the beginning. You could tell that she's, older, been around a while, because like people like, her or us grew up at a time where conversation over cancellation was what you did. Cancellation wasn't even a thing. Like you might, if someone was really, really, really egregiously bad, maybe, but like you talked out, you just, or didn't talk to that person for a while, you chilled out, and then you got talked about it again. You found common ground. There was diversity all over the place. Nobody cared. Wasn't an issue. You didn't throw around the word Nazi like it was, poo-poo head. You know what I mean? It was like, you don't use that to describe somebody because it's a really, really, really terrible thing. Now they just made it meaningless. But then it's her fault, not their fault. And I'm tired of it. But she's completely correct in the fact that there is a double standard at play. Mark Ruffalo posts this. Mark Hamill's constantly posting stuff. Pedro Pascal posts stuff. All of that was okay. No retraining, no being called out, no cancellation mobs. And because let's not make the mistake here. What she said about the Holocaust wasn't the issue. They were mad. They were pissed. Lucasfilm people were pissed because she wouldn't put pronouns in her bio. Well, at the time I pointed out a lot of them didn't have pronouns in their bio either. And that she wouldn't toe the line because a lot of them were LGBTQ+. A lot of them were diverse over there because they were really on this diversity kick. And she wouldn't toe the line they thought she'd have to toe. She was voting the way that they thought she was voting, the way that they didn't want her to vote. They thought that she had wrong ideas about the vaccines and about COVID, which we all know how that turned out. And because of those things, they used this as an excuse. Like they were trying to find a reason. And we don't know if it's going to move forward with a lawsuit. We're still waiting to hear, which is weird. The judge is taking this long. I don't know if they're waiting for something, what they're waiting for. But it's taking a while for it to reach a decision. And if they kick it out, it's a bad thing because Disney really did. Well, Lucasfilm, Disney would have been in on it, went out of their way to deliberately mispaint her. And they are with their way they're filing their legal stuff. They're just basically saying abhorrent and all this other crap. That's not what she said. But Mark Ruffalo said pretty much exact same damn thing. But it's okay when he does. Where is the statement from Marvel? Where's the statement from Disney about his abhorrent behavior? The double standards need to stop. And that's the problem Disney's having. If you have rules, it needs to be evenly enforced. It needs to be made very clear. It needs to be spelled out for people that if you do these things, this will happen, so that people know. And they have that rubric to go by. But it needs to be evenly enforced. And it has not been. Anyway, please like and subscribe. We'll talk to you later.